It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
Hey, welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. My name is Alice Lara. I am here with
Zeke Rodriquez.
the Zekinator. We're broadcasting live from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the Chips and Salsa Show, Arizona. Mr. Don Jorge is not going to join us today, but he kind of is doing his thing on Tuesday. We record on Monday. So if you're watching us, this is not live. We're recording the show, but shortly after, it gets uploaded to our Rumble and our YouTube channel. And on that, I want to give special kudos to our executive producer, Eric Williamson. Thank you, Eric.
Oh, man.
Keeps us on track.
Executive gangster.
Executive gangster, yeah. We have a guest with us today. We're going to get to her in just a couple of minutes. Julia Ruiz. She is running for the school district here.
She is.
In District 4, my district, actually. So we have plenty to talk about. And I want to tell you, so you're like, well, I don't live in Las Cruces. I don't live in New Mexico. It doesn't matter because, as you know, all across the country, school boards are having the same issues. Man.
Yeah.
Same issues. So hang tight for just a moment while I get a little bit of housekeeping under control. Oh, you know what? Yesterday, we like to do birthdays and anniversaries. Yesterday was Bill Bierman's birthday.
Oh, cool.
He was our guest last week, so happy belated.
Happy birthday, Mr. Bierman. Cheers to you, sir.
And a reminder to watch our show. It's that one's on Rumble, and it just got uploaded to our YouTube channel too.
Yeah, they banned it at first, but they let us upload it today, so that was nice.
Well, they had banned another show, and then they gave us a week penalty that we couldn't upload anything. So Eric just was able to do it, and thank you, Eric, for doing that.
It's quite popular too. We're getting up there in the views on that one as well. It was a good show.
We are, and we have our new logo for the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. So if you check it out, probably Zeke will be putting on his Facebook profile. I've got it on mine, and it's pretty cool.
We're cartoons. We look like cute cartoons.
Yeah, it's really cute.
I think it's a really good job.
It's a takeoff from the original, but of course it's got the New Mexico style.
Kind of reminds me of Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. And then kudos to my great niece, Monica Lara. She's the one that created it and is keeping the tradition on that. I just wanted to see, I don't want to forget, we'll talk more about this later, but if you live in our area, I know this is backwards because we're on Zoom, but there's a great happy hour with the candidates. It's a meet and greet. It's over at the Game 1, which is 2605 South Espina. If you live in the area, you know exactly where that is.
Yep.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And also, I want to remind you guys, 40 Days for Life has started. If you'd like to volunteer, please do. Wherever you live, they've got a 40 Days for Life coordinator. Just go to the website or contact me. I'll put you in touch with somebody.
I did it last year. I should be doing it this year. I'm pretty tied up with stuff, but last year I met some amazing people. So even just for networking, fellow Christians and fellow pro-lifers, the energy is so high. It's so high vibration. I recommend somebody you guys try it at least one time.
It is great. It is great. I already did one shift last week. So every week you do an hour. So I'm excited about that. Yep. Okay. Any other little announcements or business before we get to Julia?
No, we got this beauty here, Julia.
Yes. So want me to introduce you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. As you know, I moved back to New Mexico a little bit over a year ago, and I've met many good friends and have the pleasure of now calling my friend Julia Ruiz, who has decided to run for the public school district here in Las Cruces, and she's running in District 4, which happens to be my district. Very excited. I'll just tell you real quickly. She's got a fantastic life story. I mean, we could do a couple of hours with her alone. Oh, I should tell you, we're going to have her first half hour and focus on her. Then the second half hour, we're bringing in Gabriel Duran, who's running for city council. Julie's going to hang with us too, in case she has a question for him as well. But that's kind of how the show's going to go. But Julia, we have the election on November 7th. So what I'm going to do, we're going to ask her some questions, and I'm going to turn it over to you. Please give us like a 1 or 2 minute, kind of a little bio on you, and then maybe your main reason for running, and then we'll get to the questions. How's that?
Okay, sure. That sounds good. So again, my name's Julia Ruiz. I'm originally from Mexico, Delicias, Chihuahua. I've been in Las Cruces for about 30 years now. I've got 2 girls married and a grandson, 4 years old. He just started preschool, super excited and just absolutely love him to death. Graduated from NMSU. I've taught at the Doñana Detention Center, the women there, and I've also mentored. I've also was a religious education coordinator for a while, and now I'm in the legal field, so been doing that for about 10, 12 years now.
Are you a paralegal?
I am, yes, I am. Medical malpractice, criminal.
I'm sorry.
Medical malpractice, yes.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So you obviously have the credentials as far as working in bureaucracies and city government and dealing with massive amounts of people. I think that's huge. What led you with that? That's awesome experience. And I know you had a very interesting childhood, which I think is huge, because I think that's great for young Hispanic women, young Hispanic girls. You're perfect for them to identify with all the struggles that you've been through, all the success and achievement, and you're married. Like, you're like the American dream to the max. I can't think of a better role model for young Hispanic girls in school than you at this point. Aside from that, you being an amazing role model with your achievements, what pushed you into running for school board?
So I don't know if you guys remember, initially in January, when we had the CCC, the chair, I decided to run for that. So let me give you a little bit more history. So
Julia, let me just interject for the people that aren't familiar. What she's talking about is our county GOP party had elections, and they were electing a new chairman for the county party, and you were a candidate.
I was a candidate. So like I said, I came from Mexico, not knowing any English, and I wasn't a U.S. citizen until 2018, I think, is when I became a U.S. citizen. Wasn't able to vote, and I thought, I need to do something. I want to do something now. I can vote. So I was really excited to vote, and I thought, this email came across my emails saying you can self-nominate for the chair. So I did. What do I know? I didn't know anything about what I was getting into. I just wanted to serve, help, see what I could do. Of course, I lost, and then met a lot of people. A lot of them heard my message, what I was saying, and it resonated with them about Hispanics and them being Democrats, and that does not align with our culture. We're conservatives. We're conservatives at heart. And I just saw a lot of signs that were Democrat after Democrat after Democrat. And I'm thinking, why are so many Hispanics Democrats? Why aren't we Republicans or conservatives? Because that is what we are. So anyways, they listened to that message, and I was approached, hey, would you like to run for office? Well, I know nothing about it. So then the school board came open. I started looking into it, having my grandson start in there. I thought, yes, this is something that I think that I would like to do. It's important. What's happening with our system our school system right now, it's sad. It's very, very sad. And I want to help change it.
Well, good. So I'm very excited. Of course, I know you now, and I've seen you speak and everything. What equips you, because you do have another opponent or two in the race, what equips you better than the other opponents to be the person serving in the school board?
I think because I am a working mother, a working grandmother out in the workforce, I see what's happening and what type of students were graduating. I've had several assistants that were young graduates. This was years ago. And, they don't have the basic skills. They don't have the reading, writing, arithmetic proficiencies that they should when they graduate. Same thing with, again, just being out in the work field. I see what's happening. They're not equipped. They're not, even though our graduation rate is at 80%, 81%, they don't have the skills. They don't have the intercommunication skills. They don't know the capitals of the United States. I'll give you an example. So I do a lot of research, and one of my assistants, I asked him, hey, can you help me with this research? I gave her a book. She didn't know what an index was, and she didn't know how to use an index in a book.
How old was she?
I would say about 20, maybe 20, 18, 20. Yeah.
20 years old.
20 years old.
That's pretty sad.
Is that the same one at one event you were saying this person didn't even know how to address an envelope?
This is a different one. Yeah.
Was it a different one?
This is different. Yeah, these different assistants. Yes. Yeah.
Well,
And they don't know how to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, please, please. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, they don't have the basic skills, writing a letter, capitals of the United States, how to use a tape measure. You know, we had a broken door. My husband called to get the door measured or fixed. And so the gentleman that we called, he said, I'm sorry that it's taking me so long. The kids that I'm hiring right now, and some of them are high school graduates, probably college graduates, I don't know, but mainly high school graduates. He said they don't know how to measure a door. So I'm having to come out here to all of my jobs and measure the doors myself because they don't know how to do it. And I'm sorry that it's taken so long. So that's what I see, and that's what equips me to be part of the board. Is I'm in there. I see what's happening. I see what we're graduating. I see our workforce, and it's pretty dismal. It is. It really is. It's scary for someone my age, for who's going to be doing my job in 10, 15 years. What's going to happen? What is the workforce going to look like in 10 years?
So crazy. That's so crazy. I mean, I think for me, I just want to make sure someone gets in that I know is going to do the right thing, because a lot of this stuff's common sense. And,
Yes.
and someone like you with the experience that you've had, you're on the front line. You see, I mean, these kids can't use a tape measure. That's crazy. But see, the sad thing is I know nationally we're at like 8th grade. These kids come out of high school nationally like 8th grade reading level, math level. That's national. Okay, so the whole country's awry. But New Mexico is like 6th grade. New Mexico's even further behind than the rest of the country. So I'm really excited to have someone like Julia in there with some common freaking sense to help these struggling kids. You know, I hate to be so emphatic, but these kids are hurting so bad and nobody wants to talk about it. I'm so grateful that Julia is stepping up to put her brain on the line and her love for humanity and our culture to save these kids. I mean, you're right. Well, who is going to be here taking care of us in the future? Who is going to do that? Doesn't make any sense. There's not going to be anybody.
Right. So true. Absolutely. So the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, so you're on the board. Let's get you elected. Okay. Let's play that scenario out. And we've often talked, because part of the school board, unfortunately, not all the positions are up. Just there's like 2 or 3, I think, that are up for the election, and you will be outnumbered. What is your strategy in dealing with that and maybe speaking out? Because unfortunately, just like our city council, you may not get what you want, but you always say you'll be the voice. So what's your strategy with that?
So my strategy is, one, to be vocal about what I see. I have my constituents. My constituents are basically my bosses. This is who I serve. I'm here, again, I'm their voice. So they've got to listen. I am going to be very vocal about this is wrong or this is right. This is why I think this should be this way. And again, I'm listening to my constituents. I'm bringing their voice to the table. This is who I serve. These are the issues that are important to them. And if they don't listen, then why am I here? Why am I here if we are not listening to the people that elected me?
And I'm so glad you put it so well, because they are the bosses. Because what I'm seeing, and it's not just unique to Las Cruces, the school board, the city council, I think they kind of forget, they're not the bosses. The people are. We the people are.
Absolutely, yes.
The other thing, and then I'm going to toss it to Zeke, but as you know, and we've talked about it before on the show, our buddy from the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, Juan Garcia, the chairman, he went in front of the school board, and he and Sarah Smith discovered there was a horrible book in the library, and he read from it directly to the school board. There was some awful language and awful descriptions. I won't even go into it. And that's something we're still in confrontation with. Give us your take on that.
So age appropriate books. That's it. Why is this garbage in our school systems? Why is it in our libraries? Who is approving this garbage? Why do we need to expose our children to this stuff? We're taxpayers. We should have a say-so on what books are approved, what's in those libraries. We want to educate our children. We want them to be curious about things that are going to help them in life. They're going to help them in education, not this other stuff. Their brains cannot process this stuff. They don't understand this stuff. And as far as if their parents want to buy these books, they can buy them on Amazon. But our libraries, no, that is absolutely inappropriate for these types of books. I'm absolutely against it. It's disgusting. No, we don't need that.
And I would think that the school board has the authority to say, no, we don't do it, but it seems like they're not living up to their responsibilities.
Right. I would have to say so, yes. How was this book in there? Why was it in there? There's no reason. I think of my grandson and even my girls, if they were in school now and they came across this book, I'd be furious as a mother. Absolutely furious that this garbage is in there, and they could get a hold of it.
Yeah, it's really, I find it very peculiar that these people are on the school board. I mean, because I know you have good intention. You want to get on that school board, and you had a great response. Like, look, I'm not going to have the majority vote, but I'm going to be a voice for the people, which we don't have right now. We just don't have it. But why are these other school board members getting in there, knowing full well that we're the last in the country, and it just keeps getting worse? So it's like, I just want someone with some pure intention to get in there and fight for these children, because that's they're destroying their innocence. They're destroying their innocence, introducing these kids to all this sexual stuff. So I would have never even dreamed of it at that age, talking about what these kids are having to be introduced to. It's insane.
No, not at all. I mean, I know my girls were innocent at that time, and even in high school, they weren't exposed to a lot of this stuff. It's a scary situation. Public schools right now. I say if my girls were in school right now, I think that I would pull them out. It's nothing
Right.
compared to 10, 12 years ago. It just isn't.
I was so shocked at all of that. And kind of along those lines too, we talked about there's a referendum process in New Mexico right now. We're trying to get rid of some really bad laws, getting signatures, putting them on the ballot next year so we can vote. But within that, there's all kinds of things too that a lot of people aren't aware of, as far as the parental consent is under attack within the schools. Would you like to address that?
Okay, so the parental consent. I know that there is a consent form that Superintendent Ruiz just sent out, and he does specifically say, and I'm going to look it up because I don't want to misquote him or misquote anything.
Your uncle.
Yeah, while you look that up, I was gonna tell the audience, there's no relation that you know of, right?
No relation, no relation. So it does say LCPS does not provide or perform abortions, gender affirming care, or primary health care. Where vision and hearing screenings are conducted is only with notice and consent of parents or guardians. So right now he's basically saying that there is none of this going on in the schools, and he does name out transgender ideology, gender affirming care or gender identity, abortion, contraception, or other family planning, primary health care, or mental health care. He's basically saying in this letter, and I can email it to you guys or send it to you guys, and he's saying that none of that is going on in the Las Cruces public schools that we know. It's not going on there.
I asked my daughter if there is. She's been interested. I straight asked her, you deal with some LGBTQ stuff, and she's like, no. I mean, she would tell me, and I think this is just speculation. I think that they're backtracking on it because they're losing so many students. Like in Albuquerque, they lost like 10,000 students that went to homeschool or something. Don't quote me on that number, but I know a huge amount of students have bailed out of the public school system. They got to charter schools, they went to homeschool. So I imagine that LCPS, if they want to keep the funding, because their funding is based on students registered per school, they got to do, because parents will start pulling them out like they did in Albuquerque. I'm sure they will. I know I will.
Yeah.
Do you believe, what do you believe is actually happening? I know that there's someone I'm not going to mention because you might figure out who they are, but their student had to fill out one of those forms, and we've seen the form, which gets way entirely too personal. Even if there were questions about me, an adult, I don't think I'd feel comfortable answering. So what level? I mean, I like to believe the superintendent. I want to believe them.
Sure.
What do you think is really happening, Julia?
I'd like to go in there and see what's happening right now. Like I said, I'm not in there. I don't know. That's when I want to go in there and see what's happening, expose whatever needs to be exposed and see what's happening. I think that I know as much as everybody else does at this point. Unless we're a board member, unless we're in the public school systems, then for sure that we would know. So yes, I would like that opportunity and become a board member and see what's happening and ask the questions, ask the hard questions. How is this benefiting the kids? Why are we doing this if this doesn't benefit the kids? So that's one of my goals, is get in there and investigate, see what's going on.
Julia, will you tell the audience, for the benefit of the local audience, kind of how the geographic area of your district, and also while you're doing that, give us your website, a way to contact you, and then at the end of this interview in about 10 minutes, we'll do it again.
Okay, yes, so I am located in Picacho area, so it's going to be, goodness, all the way towards Hatch, Deming area, and it's just a big, funky little square that goes to, so let me give you my schools first of all. That's probably the easiest.
And it comes all the way from Picacho Hills, it comes all the way over here to Sonoma Ranch.
Sonoma Ranch, yes. So my schools are Columbia Elementary, Doña Ana, East Picacho, Monte Vista, Mesa Middle School, and Vista Middle School. So where all those schools are, that's my district, District 4.
I'm gonna have to get a list of that from you eventually, so I can post that too when I post the video, so people that see the post and see that their kids are in that school district, that they can get out there and vote for you. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'm getting you guys my website.
And I know you're going to give out your information, and then after that, have you been able to visit any schools?
I have. Yes, I have been able to visit. I've actually visited all of my schools, and just beautiful people. They are. I love going in there and talking to the kids. Well, can't really talk to the kids, but you just wave at them. The secretary, some of them did recognize me, said hello to a lot of them, and they were all very positive, just very welcoming. It just made me think of when my girls were in middle school, and just what the innocence and just the preciousness of these kids that we want to protect. We just want them to grow up successful and have plans for the future, and just grow up and have choices.
And I interrupted you giving out your information, Julia. Go ahead and do that now.
Yes, so it's going to be, my email is juliaruiz4lcps@gmail.com. And then the website is Julia Ruiz for Las Cruces Public Schools. Let me see here. I mean, I don't open it a lot, so that's why I'm kind of struggling here. Let's see here.
And I'm going to take this opportunity while you do that, Julia, to let people know, you can donate. If you're watching from another city or even state and you want to give Julia a few bucks, you can do that, because as we all know, even the most basic of campaigns requires money for signs, materials, and things like that. So, please, if Julia gets elected, I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. We need some conservative representation, because we don't have any now that I know of, Zeke. Well, Carol Cooper is on there, but we need some stronger representation in that. And she's running again.
Yeah.
Another thing.
I thought she wasn't going to run again.
No, she's running. She was at the last.
Oh, really?
Deal.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So my website is Julia Ruiz for lcpsboard.com.
Excellent.
And my email is Julia Ruiz for schoolboard@gmail.com. My phone number is 575-635-3649. So,
yeah, support her, guys. If you can just at least volunteer, it's time, treasure. What else is there? There's a bunch of ways that you can help the candidates, and yeah,
$10 check is
and
on
money. Yeah, time, treasure, money. I mean, anything really. I mean, just we're hurting bad. Public school system here is in really rough shape. I've been dealing with the public school system for quite some time. Since 2019, 2020, I've been going to school board meetings, got to know Mr. Jaramillo and Mr. Romero real closely in good and bad ways. But the main thing is, I wouldn't even felt compelled to go to these meetings and show some force if we had someone like Julia in there. We didn't even have that. So I had to go in there and educate the school board on, I'd give proud parade presentations, talk to them at length, had some legal exchanges as well. It gets bad, guys. It does. It's a fight for these children. These children are not being represented at all. And so I'm so honored to have Julia here doing the right thing for these kids once and for all. So besides from walking, we were talking about walking earlier. Let's get into that really quick before we switch over to Gabe. How's that experience been for you, Julia?
I'm loving it. I'm loving meeting new people. A lot of people are interested. A lot of people don't know what's going on. A lot of people know there's something going on, but they don't understand what's happening. And so I let them know what my platform is we want to bring back the three basics. We want our kids to be proficient in reading, writing, and arithmetic. We want parental involvement in the schools. Who are our first teachers? Our parents are. So why are we alienating the parents from the schools? We want them in there. With their support, they could just do so much better. Again, like I said, the 3 R's, we're 50th in the state. There's no reason to be. Our teachers are educated, they're licensed, they're trained. They need to let them teach, let them teach. And on the other thing on that is assess the kids. Again, I was an immigrant, didn't know a single word of English. I was put back in kindergarten because I didn't know any English. So if our kids aren't proficient in a grade or to move them forward, let's get them those resources. Let's get them that help that they need before they move on to 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then eventually graduate. If they graduate and they're not proficient, what purpose does that serve? It doesn't. Logical thinking skills, that's what we need. We need our kids to be productive in the workforce, or if they want to go to higher education, let's teach them. And
it's so important to have. I'm actually a victim of the Las Cruces public school system. I've talked about it in the past, but I came out of the military. So I joined the military when I was 17. So I got out of the military when I was 21 years old. Okay. And I started to go to college, and I was so poor in math and English that I had to take remedial education at the community college. So I was sitting in there with the high level kids from high school, that were like kicking my ass in basic math and basic reading and basic writing as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old veteran man.
Wow.
Homeowner. But it was crippling when you don't have math skills and reading and writing skills. It was embarrassing, but you're just holding yourself back from so much. And golly, I can't tell you how important it is just to get back to those 3 basics, like you say. That's so huge.
And to assess the kids before they pass into the next grade. I mean, do you think that would have happened to you had you been assessed and they caught it before they passed you on to another grade?
They slid me through. I shouldn't even I graduated high school with a 1.7 GPA. I barely got through there. So if I had gotten assessed, I'd probably been held back, which would have been fine. I mean, you got held back. I know a bunch of awesome people who got held back. It's not the end of the world.
No, it really isn't. I mean, what's the purpose of me continuing on to the next grade if I don't know the subject matter, if I don't understand the subject matter? I'm just going to get farther and farther and farther behind again till you graduate. And then what's going to happen? How are you going to support yourself? What's going to happen in the workforce? Or if you go to higher education, how are you going to survive? Truly, being a burden on your parents and taxpayers, that's not what we want. That is not what we want for our kids.
Yeah, you got to go back and pay for all kinds of remedial education. Thankfully, I had the GI Bill. So the GI Bill paid for a lot of my remedial education. But if I hadn't done all the remedial education, I probably got paid for 2 masters by now. So these kids are losing, going in and coming out financially. They're crippled with intellectually. It's a mess.
It's a small little form to me of child abuse, because my fantasy is I wish you could go back and sue them, the school system, for doing that to you, because they should. Because I'm older than both of you. That didn't happen in my day. If you couldn't cut it, they would keep you back automatically, just like you said you didn't pass kindergarten.
It was more common back in the day.
It was fair. They wanted you to be ready. Yeah.
I didn't have a stigma. I still don't have a stigma. I mean, again, nothing happened. It's not the end of the world. The COVID kids is what they're calling them now, and again, they're not prepared. They are not prepared. What's going to happen whenever they've graduated? What kind of jobs are they going to be out there for them if they're not proficient in these subjects?
We're not even talking socially. They've been socially crippled too.
Right. That's right.
Right.
Julia, we could talk to you for so much longer, but we're heading towards time. I'm going to give you a minute, give your information and maybe a closing line. I know you're going to be at the happy hour also, and you're going to hang with us for the next half hour to talk to Gabe. And you can interject a question if you have, because it's local. It's all local. But go ahead and take a minute and give us information, a little closing statement on you.
Sure. So the reason why I want to be on the board is to ask questions, to ask the tough questions. And anything that's happening, we have to question, is this good for the children? How is it going to benefit the children? What are we going to do? It's mainly for the children, their education, their future. That is what we always have to keep in mind. And that's the first thing. Why are we doing this? How is this benefiting our children? That's my goal, to do anything that we're doing in the board, in the education system. That's number one, is our kids. Our kids are what's important. And again, my constituents, that those are my bosses. That's who I'm going to answer to. That those are the ones that I serve.
Amen. What made me really happy about that statement is that you put the kids before the parents. I think that's so important because the kids, you're the first person I've heard champion the kids in years. So God bless you for that. Thank you so much. And I guess that segues us over to Gabe Duran. Gabe, are you there, sir? Hey, we can't hear you, sir.
There you go. How's that?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Julia. She's going to hang out for a little bit in case she has any questions for Mr. Duran here. I'm going to give you a brief intro here, Gabe, and then we're going to let you intro yourself. Give us a quick little 2-minute, 3-minute spiel about your platform, your campaign, and just, whatever message you want to get out there. And then we'll roll into some more questions, and we'll keep this puppy going for another 30 minutes. Okay, guys?
Sounds good to me.
So Gabe Duran, this is a guy I've known since 6th grade. We've been friends for a very long time. We played sports together. We played basketball together, played football together. And we've just been tight. We've been tight. We grew up in the same neighborhood, and we're actually both veterans. We both joined the military about the same time as well. So we have a lot in common, and we've just been boys for a long time. And, just throwing this out there, he's not a registered Republican, because I know I'm hardcore Republican, I'm hardcore conservative. He's not on that side. He's got a unique platform, which I think is cool. I think it's cool. I just want to throw that out there so that even though we're tight, I don't want him to be affiliated with me and what I put out there, because he is a different man. He's his own man. He's got his own vision for the city. That being said, what we both agree on is that Joanna Bengoma's got to go. And he lives in that neighborhood. And when we started talking about this a few months ago, he was, and I'm sure it's changed, but when we first started talking about it, Gabe, the main thing was the crime, man. The crime was just getting crazy. And we all know that the crime is just getting worse. Even though we bark and holler at these city council people professionally and peacefully, we tell them, hey, the crime, nothing's being done. So aside from that, without further ado, Mr. Gabe Duran, if you could please give us an intro.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that, Zeke, and thank you, Chips and Salsa, for having me. Miss Julia, pleasure to see you again.
Hey, Gabe.
All right. Hey. So my name is Gabriel Duran Jr. I am running for Las Cruces City Council District 4. My family has been a part of this district for many generations, and I was educated in the Las Cruces public school system here in the same district. I proudly joined the United States Army. I returned a disabled veteran. I have completed my master's degree in public administration. I give back to my community as a youth sports coach, substitute teacher, and advocate for fathers and strengthening family structures. I promise to, I promise to continue those, fighting for my community and trying to strengthen our community any way that I can. And so, yeah, that's a little bit of that's my 1-minute background right there, Zeke. I can go on for days, but I don't want to talk about myself all day.
No, I know it kind of sucks, and I'm trying to avoid that too. I mean, so you obviously have the credentials. How and we're talking about walking with Julia earlier. She's out there talking to people, and the people are so starved for just any kind of information. They're always so grateful to have you out there. How was your experience dealing with the public, Gabe, with the businesses, or how has people been receiving you running for this position?
Well, it's been okay. I'm gonna say mixed emotions, only because it's been rewarding. It's been eye-opening, confirming on a few things, confirmed a little bit of my assumptions, and a little bit of some sadness, when you hear the stories, when you hear what's going on from the people themselves. I mean, we can see it, we can assume, like local businesses are hurting, we can assume they're frustrated, we can assume that they're having difficult times, but until we're in front of them and they're giving us their life stories and giving us the struggles that they're going through and telling the stories in detail of what's happening to them, it's sad to hear. But at the same time, where it's rewarding is when you know that you can do something to help them, and that's where I felt like, that's my motivation. And it's not just the local business owners, it's the residents, it's everyday folks, just like you and me, and the community as a whole, economically, in all kinds of ways. But anyway, But yeah, that's the door knocking has been amazing. As far as I kind of throw a very loose stat out there, but about over 90% of the people that I talk to are 100% on board and ready to say enough is enough. We've seen it the last 4 years, or probably a little bit longer even, but we've seen it long enough, and we deserve better. And so that's where I'm gaining a lot of support, a lot of traction, is by talking to the people who have been ignored for far too long, to be honest with you. When you're only focused on, I won't go there. I'm not going to start there.
A certain agenda.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's just tough. Like when I first got into politics, I was only focused on the federal stuff. Like I was focusing on Congressman Yvette Harrell. I was focusing on the governor and the senators. But as you get deeper into politics, you realize like, oh, snap. What really matters and what really only that counts is local elections, like school board. Those are the people that are dealing with your kids, your future. City council, those are the people that are dealing with your neighborhood, the fire station right down the street from you, the policeman. Okay, like it's almost a distraction. So I'm so glad that high quality candidates like you guys are in there fighting. I'm glad you've been perceived. And I got a quick, go ahead, Alice. I'm sure Alice wants to ask a question.
No.
I just, one last quick question.
Go ahead.
Has it been, because I know you're registered independent, you're running as independent. How is that, has people, because I don't care. I vote on quality of the candidate. If you're going to do the right thing, you got my freaking vote, And has people been bringing that up, that divisiveness, that dichotomy, that polarity with the Republican Democrat, or is it just like, hey man, we just want to make sure you're a good guy, we want to vote for you?
I was worried about that in the beginning, because again, it was, number one, this is a bipartisan seat,
Right.
so it's not, it should just be about the issues. But either way, I was a little bit worried about that in the beginning. However, I do get asked sometimes, though, this is, hey, real quick, are you are you DNR? And my response to them is, I'm an independent thinker. I'm not affiliated with anything particularly. I'm looking at the issues as they are, and especially with local government. That's the way that it should be addressed. We should not be polarized or say, hey, you know what, he has a good idea, but he has the wrong alphabet on his voting registration, so I'm not going to listen to him. And I think that there's a lot of us that are right here in the middle that are just looking at it critically. And so to answer your question, I have been asked. I thought it was going to be more of an issue than it was. But when I let them know, like, look, I'm just an independent thinker, this is what I feel about the issues, nobody can deny that. That's not something that, I don't think there's anybody who doesn't want a safer neighborhood. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want economic growth. And I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want peace of mind. And that's all it is. And I don't think it has anything to do with any parties in particular. I think all of us as American citizens pretty much want those basic things.
That's great. Julia, is that the same thing you've been dealing with?
As far as the people,
they're not really throwing D or R at you. They're just like, hey, we want to, have some common sense, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, people have been. They want information. They want somebody that's genuinely concerned. They want somebody that cares and listens and understands them. We're part of the people as well, and they don't want somebody that's just going to come in. Oh, well, it's election day. We're going to be here because it's election time. And no, they want somebody that's going to be there, present, and understand them and listen to them throughout.
It's very good. That's very good to hear that both of you having the exact same experience. It's not so divisive. It's more just, it's communal. It's more like family.
That is really good to hear in the community. And by the way, nice to meet you, Gabe. Can I call you Gabe, Mr. Duran?
You can call me whatever you like.
Oh, okay, don't give me that much. No. It's very good to hear. And the fact that you're an independent, there's a lot of questions I want to ask, but my question is always, you get elected. I gave Julia kind of the same scenario, but you're going to be facing, you're going to be outnumbered. Face it, you probably will be. How difficult, do you have a strategy for that? Maybe tell us how you like to approach it. You are probably pretty familiar now with the city council. You've been down there, or you've watched meetings. What's your strategy for that?
Well, yeah, thank you for that question, and like, nice to meet you. So yes, I have seen this in city council, to where it seems like it's almost one voice sometimes, which doesn't really seem like a democracy to me, in my opinion. And so as far as what I would do, as a city councilman, no matter who it is that's at that city council table with me or in the mayor seat, I mean, obviously, we're hoping, that we have a good representation, but no matter who is there, look, when I was in the army, I learned from every one of my experiences. I've learned something, and which we all should, right? But during my military experience, I learned a lot about leadership. I learned a lot about me working with others. I was a squad leader. I was a platoon guy. I was all of that, because the way I was able to gain those positions was just by my work ethic that my grandfather and my father gave to me. And I just said, I'm going to work as hard as I can, gain that respect, and become a leader. But within that, you also need to work with others, right? You also need to acknowledge that, okay, it's a team thing. But at the same time, my job is to represent my district, to the fullest, and to be a voice for them. So, as opposed to, being a part of, a squad or whatever it is, being somebody that's going to represent my district, so that I'm not, everything that I vote on, everything that I propose, everything that I advocate for and support is going to be something that I know is going to be beneficial to my district, and my district only. If that means that the councilman across from me doesn't like me that day, well, I'm sorry. Maybe next time we'll agree on something. But that's the thing. I'm here to represent my district, and whatever that means, that's what I'm going to do. So as far as, it being difficult at times to, depending on who's in the seats, I mean, that's part of the job. And I know that, I've heard, from the incumbents that, she almost didn't run because the stress and the ridicule and all of these things that come with the job. But, my response to that is, well, this job isn't for everybody. And if you can't be able to overcome the mental, emotional, and physical strains with this job, then maybe you should let somebody who can.
I think that's a pretty good answer. And my concerns too, I want to know how you feel about ranked choice voting. And then if you have a moment to discuss, I think we need to bring back a curfew. And then when you're done, I'm going to toss it back to Zeke.
Thank you. Okay. As far as ranked choice voting, it's fairly new to all of us, somewhat new to all of us. I understand it's not very popular with a lot of the people that I've talked to. I have not thought so much into it right now, because my concern is being the number one choice no matter what. So, I understand that it's not very popular for a lot of folks. There are certain areas, though. I mean, my thing is, no matter what's given to you, what are you going to make of it, right? We can't stop it right now. It is what it is. That's what's in play. Okay, it is what it is. Those are the cards that were dealt at this point. So how could we make it? How could we make it worthwhile? How could we work with it? Well, a lot of the other candidates, Well, let's just say that there is a way that we can do that. So, I mean, we
Can I
can
just
put in-
interject real quick right
Yes.
here? Because what I really would like to know is, would you entertain the idea of, because the city council themselves, I understand, put this in place. They didn't take it to the voters to say, this is how we're going to elect you. They put it in place. Would you entertain a thought or a resolution to change that and go back to another system like it? I think it probably was like before, you had to have a majority. Whoever did not get the 51%, then you had a runoff between the two. Have you thought that far?
You know what? I have not thought that far yet.
Put
You
it in
know,
your head now, dude.
I'm gonna put that down here on my notes, and you know, when I'm able to focus more attention into that, I definitely will, because that you do bring, I do see the points there, and you know, you do bring up some really good points to look into.
Thank you. And then the other part is curfew. When I was growing up here, which is a long time ago, I just moved back about a year and a half ago. We had a curfew for minors, and right now there is none. So what do you think about that? And if you do think there should be one, would you propose bringing one back?
Um, yes, for minors, so I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, I know. Are you talking about unsupervised minors, or
For
you mean
example,
like
the
if they're out
basic
with their
law
parents?
when I was growing up, like unless you were working, I think, I don't want to say for sure, but if you were under 18, you really weren't supposed to be out, like during the week past 11, I think it was midnight during the weekend or something, unless you had a reason to be out there.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like I said, I mean, there's different. It's different circumstances, you know, that you might be out with a parent somewhere, leaving a get
Sure.
together, you know, together, a nice
I
healthy
think
get
they
together.
unsupervised.
Nice
I'm
and
talking
safe.
unsupervised. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
unsupervised though, yes, absolutely. You know, after 11, you know, I mean, my opinion, my kids are in their room at 8:30. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But as far as, you know, unsupervised, yes, there should be a time where not only is it not safe for the community, but it's not safe for the child to be out there. And yeah, the majority of them, I mean, what are they doing out there so late at night, you know? Yeah, so yeah, that is something really to consider bringing
Thank
back.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Julia.
Oh, I just think that this goes back to parental involvement.
Mhm.
Where are the parents? Bring the parents back in, and this is where are your kids, parents? Again, parental involvement is absolutely very number one important in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, I think any restriction on these kids is great because these kids aren't getting any discipline or restrictions from I mean, most parents I talk to parents who have jobs, they got money, they got homes and stuff. They're so lax with their daughters being out late, having boyfriends at like 14. It's like, what are you guys doing? I'm sorry, but like when I was growing up, it was a rare thing for a girl to have a boyfriend and be serious with them at 13, 14, 15 years old and let them out all night on the weekends. That's just, to me, is like, dude, we know what's going on in those kids' heads at that age. You got to hold them back. You got to put some discipline in them. So if the government has to get involved, and the danger is dangerous out there.
Yes.
This is freaking crimes to the roof right now. Why wouldn't we want our kids to be safer? So I'd be in favor of it.
Well, and I think too, I told you that we talked with Officer Velasco from the Las Cruces Police Department, and it would help the police officers. It would help. He says, I can't really do anything, unless they're in danger, or drowning or something, but they're out there.
That's an interesting thought. I never thought about until she brought up the last podcast, or curfew thing. I hadn't heard that in a long time, but it's definitely an interesting concept.
It is, because it also, utilizes a lot of resources with law enforcement, if there's kids out there, because I mean, that's just more for them to do. And law enforcement's already strapped with time and support. So absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of law enforcement, it's your turn. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Sure?
Yeah, go ahead. So,
we just had last week, I don't know if you got to watch our show last week, Gabe, but we had William Bierman on. And if you haven't seen his report, Zeke can send it to you. We'll be happy to make it available.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
It's a really good little history kind of a city government and what's been happening. But he talked about how, we don't have enough police officers. and we are big supporters of police. And so there's some little bit of history where maybe there's a little lack of, I'm trying to be so diplomatic today. I don't know what's wrong with
Just
me.
let it out, Alice.
Just say it.
We need a little more support for our police officers. So give us your take on that, sir.
Absolutely agree with you. You know, we need support for the law enforcement. We need we need to continue to grow you know, programs for law enforcement, but at the same time, recruitment in general. I mean, you know, I think we can do better with benefits. I think we can do better with pay for our law enforcement that keep us safe. We need to do better to support them with you know, being able to enforce a lot of the ordinances that we already have in place to protect us, you know, specifically those that involve panhandling and all these other things as well, and vandalism. And you know, I do have a little bit of optimism. I do have a great deal of optimism with our with the new police chief coming in. Well, the interim police chief is actually, you know, story, and I've heard good things about and as you know, some real positive feedback and outlook for the future with that, and also some of the other things that have come into play, such as you know, the increased funding for to hire officers with a background in different educational backgrounds, and then also you know, with the light program. I'm a little bit biased because I got to see that at its infant stage as an intern with Las Cruces Fire Department, but yeah, I do 100% agree with you. We need to support our law enforcement. We need to, you know, bridge those gaps between law enforcement and our youth. You know, we want to do more programs to where kids at a young age can humanize a police officer, and vice versa, to where, you know, it's not so much of a, oh, there's a cop, you know, I'm scared, you know, like, oh my gosh, you know, that kind of thing. It's more of a cool, that's, you know, there's a cop, he's here to protect me. You know, I want to be a cop one day, you know, I would love to do that. That kind of thing too. You know, we can do a lot better with building those bridges between the community and law enforcement as a PR thing, but yes, definitely benefits.
You got me there being pro law enforcement, and I'll end on this two states. Just goes for both of you, because I don't think, and nothing against you guys or anybody. I'm obsessed with this stuff, so I'm a little ahead. But you know, the end for city council, the end goal is to have migrants take over the police department positions. Like they already started in California and Chicago, where, you know, a lot of these guys barely even know English, and they're getting a badge and a gun. And who do you think they're going to be supporting at the end of the day when things get really bad? You know, the people who pay for them to come up here and get that badge, or the Americans who've been here already. So there's a big issue with that. And I'm so glad that you're pro law enforcement and you see a good future in supporting them and making sure that they're hired up based on their education and their credentials and getting them paid more. That's all wonderful stuff. So just so you know, you're going to be confronted with that, I'm sure, eventually, that they're going to want to have immigrants take those police positions, which to me is crazy. And then for Julia, the end goal for the school boards, and they already started this in California as well, is if you're not okay with them being transgender or introduced to that indoctrination, then the state's going to take them away from you. And CPS is going to take your kids away from you and call that child abuse. And they're going to go ahead and initiate transgender affirmation surgeries or protocols for your child. So the government there wants to have control of your kids. And I know Julia's not cool with that, but just so you guys know, things are, everybody who's listening, things are very serious right now. This is the time of all time of our life. We have to pay attention to these candidates. We have to support these candidates. We have to know the issues. And it's very important that we know what the end goal is, because they already started. It's not me just being crazy conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat. This has already started in other states that we follow suit from. We're always right behind California. We're always right behind New York. So here it comes, guys. These are the people that are going to stop it from happening. These are the people that are going to stand up for common sense and stand up for our neighbors and for love of children and our community. So that being said, that's what I wanted to get out there.
That's very well said. We just got a few minutes. So first of all, I want to remind everybody, this is the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. I'm Alice Lara, and this is Zeke.
Hello.
And we have had the pleasure of having Julia Ruiz on, who's running for Las Cruces School District number 4, school board, and then Gabe Duran, who's running city council, also District 4. That's kind of cool. They're both
Yeah,
in
that's
District
right.
4.
44.
Yeah, they're different because it's city and school district. But Gabe, go ahead and take a minute and please give us your information, how people can contact you or give you money and all that good stuff.
Money.
And also, when you're done with that, take another minute and give us kind of your closing statement, and then we'll take a few minutes to say goodbye.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. So yes, like I said, my name's Gabriel Duran Jr. I'm going to be number 4 on the ballot, but I want to be your number 1 choice. You can contact me at 575-528-8646. You can also email me at Gabriel Duran number 4 city council at gmail.com. And my website is, right now it's available on desktop, but it will be available by phone in hopefully a day or 2. And it'll be Gabriel Duran for the number 4 city council at .com. And you can also reach out to me in regards to, we have PayPal, we have all that stuff set up, write a check, whatever it is that you can do. Obviously, yes, these campaigns do get a little steep, and so in closing, look, like I said, I have deep roots here. My family's, my great grandfather used to farm this land, way back when, and we need representation for us. We are not a political stepping stone. We are not a training ground for career politicians. This is a city. This is my city. This is a community that needs to address the issues that are at hand. And that's why I'm running. I will, as a city councilman, I will be accessible, to my constituents. I will be a voice to my constituents, and I will always focus on how to make my district safer, economically healthier, and because enough is enough. And so I'm for us.
Well, you both did a great job, and I hope to see you both on Friday at our happy hour. Are you going, Gabe? Do you know about this happy hour?
Yeah, I just got a phone call about that right now too. I am gonna make it at 4:30. I may have to leave a little early. I have another meeting later that day, but I am gonna be there at 4:30.
And Julie's going to be there. We're going to be there. We have the pleasure. We're going to be emceeing the event.
Yep.
So we're hoping to give the candidates a few minutes at the mic at least.
Yep.
And this is a good place to come because informally you can go to the little tables of information, ask them questions. We hope that you come. Okay. Thank you, candidates. Julia Ruiz, running for the school district, number 4, and Gabe Duran, who's running for city council, number 4. I'm Alice Lara here with
Zeke Rodriquez. Hey guys, real quick. This is it. You're not going to get any better candidates than Julia Ruiz and Gabe Duran. All right, guys. It is time to get involved. Give them a call. Give them some money. Give them some support. Tell your neighbors to vote for them. Figure out what districts are. This is the time. These are amazing candidates, guys. We should be so grateful that they actually, freaking womaned up and manned up to fight for our community. So please, please, please support these people.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank
This is
you
a
so much.
recorded program, and we'll be uploading it soon. So until then, have a wonderful week. Alice Lara and Zeke.
Later, guys.
Thank you, Zeke. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys in a couple days, okay? Good luck out. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.